Well, episode 2 of the Touchline podcast. Hope you're all well. How you doing, Cam?
Not so bad yourself.
Not too bad, not too bad. So, in today's episode, it's pretty much talking about round 5, give a few predictions, bit of
Yeah.
news. But yeah, where do you want to get started, Cam? Is there anything in round 5 in general that you want to talk about?
There's just a few interesting fixtures coming up.
Go on then.
Uh,
Go on.
we've got the Penrith and Parramatta game.
That'll
We've
be a
got the
game, that.
Storm and the Knights game. And, a game that I think will be interesting is the Roosters and Bulldogs as well.
Be a very interesting game. At first, then I thought you were going to say Souths, the Souths game with Titans.
Yeah. I think
that'll be
with that
interesting.
game, I think Rabbitohs will still have something to prove with the players coming back, like Cody
You've
Walker
got
and
Walker back and
yeah,
Roberts in it.
Roberts.
Isn't Roberts back in? Yeah.
Yeah.
Good inclusions then. Solid
But the Titans
inclusions.
have just won, so
Yeah.
be interesting.
The confidence will be really high off that.
Yeah.
Massively
So
high.
what news have you come up with?
I think news-wise, there was sort of one big story that came out over leading up to round 5, and I think that was the Benji Marshall incident. Now,
Yeah.
firstly, obviously, he'd been axed after his performance against the Titans.
Yeah.
Should he have been axed? I mean, he's a key playmaker. Yeah, I know they lost, but that was just when I watched it, it was just bad defense, really. You know,
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
you can't really just pin it on him. Now, I've got some stats of Benji against Reynolds, who's been put in his play. So this is
Yeah.
since 2018 to 2020. Now, Marshall has played 41 games. Reynolds has played 6. Marshall has 21 wins. Reynolds only has 2. Benji
Yeah.
Marshall keeps possession per game a lot higher. He's on
Yeah.
43%, say. Reynolds on 24%. Meters gained is about right. He makes more line break assists, try assists, kicks per game, kick meters per game, and forced dropouts as well. So when you look at them, you do have to wonder what's the thinking behind the move. But then what didn't help his cause was he's just been banned from training. Not sure how long for.
Is
Due
that
to
with the thing with the social distancing?
Yeah, he breached the rules. He gave a reporter a kiss. Now, there's nothing in it. You know, he's just probably forgot what was going on
Yeah.
and done it. You know, he's not pulled a Nathan Cleary
Yeah.
and invited tons of girls around his house, you know. But so now he's banned for it is an innocent breaching of the rules, but he's done it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's the biggest bit of news to come out. That and obviously the St. George coach, McGregor, being kept in.
Yeah. I was surprised by that actually.
Yeah, very surprised. But obviously they've got a plan in place. St. George have said that they don't want to just kick people out when things are going tough. They need to stick by them and keep that confidence going. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, what have you got? Anything for round 5?
Well, something interesting came out today regarding the World Cup. We're 500 days away till the opening fixture, England and Samoa. That's played on October 23rd, 2021. But they've announced the bases for the teams in the UK. So I'll have them up on screen as well. Yeah.
So is that where they're training and staying and things? Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. So you see that in Bolton, France, that's where they're staying. Samoa being based in Doncaster. Fiji's being based in Hull. Jamaica and Ireland are being based in Leeds.
That's a change for Jamaica, isn't it?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Credit to him getting to the World Cup, though.
Yeah, 100%. Tonga and Italy being based in Liverpool/St Helens. England and Australia in Manchester. I mean, two of the best teams has to stay in probably the best area.
Yeah. See how that
Scotland are being
works.
based in Newcastle. Wales are being based in Preston. Greece are being based in Sheffield. Cook Islands being based in Tees Valley. That's the difference. It is a funny one, the next one, actually. Papua New Guinea are being based in Warrington.
Oh, Christ.
Lebanon are being based in Wigan/Leigh. And New Zealand are being based in York.
Well, that I can't wait for that. Because, I mean, obviously,
No.
Euros for footy with this year, but that's just going to add a bit more. I can't
Yeah.
wait for that World Cup.
Yeah,
You'd think
and with
England would
it
have
being
some
like
sort of
local
chance.
as well, we'll be able
Yeah,
to attend more games and see what the atmosphere is actually like.
yeah, definitely. You'd think
Because
England would be in with a shout with it as well.
yeah, well, last year when I went watching England in the Test series versus New Zealand, they looked so good against the team. Like you had guys like Tommy Makerson who was like performing like in each game of them tests.
Well, you won Golden Boot last year, didn't you?
Yeah, yeah,
For
exactly.
them performances. Well, is there anything else you want to say about the World Cup? I mean, you've pretty much summed it up, though, haven't you? 500
Yeah,
days away. Come on, England.
but it'll be a good opening game, that England versus Samoa.
Be a tough game for England that to start off with,
Yeah,
because Samoa are just physical,
yeah.
very
So
physical.
moving on to any injury updates in the
I've got
NRL.
one. I've picked. There's been a few, but I've picked two.
Yeah,
Now I've got Manly have lost George Tafua and Sirinen to a knee
huge
injury.
blows that.
I've
Huge
picked
blows.
them two as main ones because I thought them two have been quality
Yeah,
since it's restarted. You know, they've been main point of attack really for them, and they've been solid in defence. And the other
yeah,
one is Newcastle's Kurt Mann. Now, he went down with an ankle injury last week, and he's still in doubt. Now, he has come out and said that he's ready to go, but they've kept I can't think of the lad's name. It's a young lad, and Tex Hoy, who
yeah.
we saw in the last two games, but he
He's
might be
put.
going in at 6.
Yeah, he's been playing phenomenal. And
Yeah, so I think
this coming.
I think it's out of Kurt Mann if he's fit. I think they will go with Kurt Mann if he is fit because he is more experienced. And
Yeah,
against a team like Storm, you do need that experience. But I
I
think if that's the case, Texar will still be on the bench.
I do have a question for you.
Go on.
Do you think Tamalolo will be back this week?
I think if he was to come back, I think it sounds harsh because he doesn't deserve it. And you'd think a multi-million-pound contract player, a £1 million contract player wouldn't do it. But I think they'd probably put him on bench.
Yeah, I think you've got to look at it like with a player that
You want
is,
to,
you don't want to burn him out, and if
and
he's
you want to
injured, you just want
prolong
to.
it, don't you?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, especially because of how many years he's got left on his contract. If anything major happens,
Oh,
you
I'm
know,
not a professional, but I'd be very surprised if he starts on the weekend. If he
yeah,
does play, they'll put. I'd start him off the bench, especially
yeah,
when the forwards get tired. Him going on then, unbelievable. Or just rest him for the game, make sure he's 100% fit, and then bring him back again. Because if you think they're against Warriors, aren't they?
yeah, they are. Yeah,
I believe they are against the Warriors. So,
it'd be an interesting game that actually because
yeah.
Warriors they lost last week, but
And so
it'd
did
be interesting.
Cowboys.
Yeah,
So both looking for big games, really.
yeah,
Um, I think the biggest
yeah,
thing though to come out of NRL is crowds being allowed back in.
yeah. Isn't that in the
It's,
New South Wales area?
yeah, so it's limited number. They're not filling the stadiums. I mean, Roosters never fill a stadium anyway, but yeah, I think it'll be a big inclusion the crowds because I think a lot of teams are going to benefit from it.
Yeah,
You know, as small a crowd is, you always get a bit of a buzz when you play in front of a crowd. Once they start cheering and it does help teams massively, a lot more than people actually realise, I think. So I
yeah.
think that's going to be the biggest part. And
What
yeah,
have you chosen for your interesting games?
right. So for my interesting game, I've gone for the Manly and Broncos game.
Yeah, that's not a bad show. Go on, I'll let you
Purely
explain though.
because both have come off a loss.
Yeah,
Controversial for Manly's loss, we know.
yeah,
I
but
think,
they've lost players now.
yeah, I think that game is where Manly will look at it and go, right, we need to bounce back, make sure we win. Broncos will be looking at it saying, we have to win. And the other
Yeah,
reason why I picked it as an interesting game is Ben Teo is in the side for Broncos.
yeah,
I'm not sure whether he'll be on the bench or starting, but I can't wait to watch him. I think he'll be a big inclusion into that Broncos team. I think he's going to help them out a
yeah.
massive,
It
massive
will be
amount.
interesting about that game whether they'll play Paynas another 80 minutes.
Yeah. The thing is, the short on numbers, aren't they? So it's a tough one. I mean, watching the Titans game last week,
Yeah,
loose forward for Titans JRO. He played, I think it was about 35 minutes in the first half, non-stop, and then went off. But he only
yeah,
came on with 15 minutes left in the second half. So maybe if they do something like that, make sure that he puts a
yeah,
big stint in it first half,
yeah.
rack
Just
up
to,
his
just to make
numbers,
sure,
yeah,
like, it doesn't
bring
burn
him
him out.
off. And then, because thing is, he's a big lad, but he's quick on his feet. So if you
Yeah,
bring him back on then, when forwards are getting tired with 20 minutes left, I think he'll do more damage then. And he also gets a rest. You can't ask him to do another 80
yeah,
consecutively throughout the season. You know, there needs to be a bit of a rest there, definitely. What about
yeah.
yourself, Cam?
Personally, I've gone with I've picked two, but the
Oh,
main one is Rabbitohs and Titans. So mainly for the reasons we said earlier, like Rabbitohs, with players coming back, they've practically got a full strength squad.
yeah.
So
I think
it'll
that's
be
one that
interesting.
they'd be looking at going, we can win this.
Yeah, especially
We need to
against the
win this.
Titans. I know they won last week, but they're still bottom of the table. But you got to look at it.
Don't underestimate him.
I know,
Watch.
but like the way Latrell's coming on, and with the halves back in, it'd be hard to not say Rabbitohs going to win that game.
What would you say is your biggest game?
The biggest game,
Yeah,
I'd say it's the Knights and Storm game.
I've gone with the same one here as you.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Um,
go on. I'll let you explain. Go on.
well, personally, after that performance from the Knights last week against Canberra, I think they're probably one of the favourites for the title at the minute.
They have to be up there
And
now.
yeah, and you look at Storm, like they're still playing so well, especially Cameron Smith at his age as well. Still managing to put in shifts, and they've got Munster. It'd be interesting to see how that compares against the young halves that
Yeah.
Knights have got.
The,
So
the, I've picked it as well. Like you said, I think it's a must-win game for both teams, but in different ways. I think
yeah,
for the Storm of getting beat by Canberra, then they bounced back last week. I think against the Rabbitohs, I think they need to hit the ground running now and get a bit of a streak going.
yeah, a bit more
The
consistency.
Yeah, with the
Yeah,
Knights, like I think I said it in the last podcast after this one, Knights are always known for starting off well and then dropping off. And I think
yeah,
after drawing with Penrith, which you think maybe if Ponga was there, it would have been a different outcome.
yeah,
They beat Canberra, who's beat Storm this season, quite convincingly as well. They beat Storm.
yeah.
I think this game now, I know there's other teams that they're going to have to beat, really good sides. But I think this will be the telling game for Knights to sort of see where they're at. Because if they can beat Storm on the weekend, they'll
It
go
will.
for the rest of the
Yeah.
season in heaps of confidence. Because they'll get a bit of a streak going. Everyone will enjoy the rugby there. And I think that's what they need massively.
And another thing is like looking at the table now. It's mad. Like you wouldn't have pictured Para to be top still,
No,
and Roosters to be sixth,
no, yeah, I
and
get that.
especially Rabbitohs to be 13th.
Yeah. Get that.
Like it's kind of a weird season. I know it's only the
Well,
start, but
yeah. Whilst we're talking about Storm, did you hear the story about the lad who made his debut last week for him?
no.
He's not been picked in this game, but his name is Chris Lewis, right? He's 27 years old,
Yeah,
made his debut, and he's played in like the Queensland Cup. You know, he's always pushed for a place in first team rugby, but
yeah.
he had injuries. He's always had a few setbacks, you know, and he's been a teacher for 6 or 7 years. But he
Oh
made
my
his
God.
debut last week against the Rabbitohs. He
Yeah,
only played 4 minutes, but giving credit, you know, he's persevered with it. And I don't know why. I know he's only played 4 minutes and he's not been picked, but that story just shows how good rugby league is. I think, you know,
yeah. It's
he's been a
it's like that
teacher.
one in America as well. That lad who got picked for Lakers. You know that older. I'm forgetting his name now, but he was playing for the G League team for ages, and he finally got a game with the first team.
Yeah, I just think that's unbelievable for him. And like Storm let his parents into the stadium as well to watch him play his first grade game.
Yeah,
He's actually quit. He gave up his teaching that he'd done, like I said, for 6 or 7 years to actually play professional rugby.
oh my God.
And I think that's just quality. That's absolutely amazing. Chris Lewis, definitely. I think he'll be back in the squad.
Yeah,
But one of the things that we didn't say is Storm, their seven's been injured. Their six or
right.
seven's been injured, not Munster, the other lad. So
Yeah,
they've kind of filled their two other spaces with backs because they need someone to fill in for them. So that might be one of the reasons why they've left Chris out. But definitely keep an eye on him for the rest of the season because I
yeah. Another
genuinely think he'll
game.
be back in it.
Yeah, another game that I think will be competitive is the Penrith and Eels game.
Yeah,
Especially with Penrith now, Cleary's coming back, and obviously, is it Burton,
yeah.
the other half? Yeah, in the form he's in as well. It'll be interesting, like the halves how they're going to play out now, especially with Cleary back coming against the
And
Eels, like with Moses and
yeah,
stuff.
and on the Eels side, like they need if they want to be considered as Premiership favourites, they need to keep that consistency going.
Yeah,
And I think that's how they do it. I think they need to beat teams like Penrith now because they're the only team with a perfect record. So they'll be hoping to be able to keep that intact. I think definitely.
yeah.
So Cam,
Go on.
speaking of the round now, we've done our get two games that we said like competitive and interesting.
Yeah,
Who would you say are your three players to watch this year? Not who's going to be the player of the round, just who's three players you want to watch this round.
this round,
Yeah,
three players I've chosen. Uh, Cameron Murray
good
against
choice.
against the Titans. You know, it'd be interesting how he comes out, especially moving back position to the lock position
Yeah,
instead of coming off
definitely.
the edge. It's such a much better fit, and especially with the halves coming back, you know, it's going to be interesting.
I was just going to see now, let me have a look at the lineup for him and see what, because I think we talked about it, didn't we, in the last podcast, our first one, that they wanted to go in at, they said that they wanted to change it up a bit so then he'd play 13.
Yeah, and I
Let's have
think
a look.
was they going to
So
put
yeah,
Liam Knight back in at second row?
they've no Liam Knight's on the bench. So you've got Jaden Suar
Yeah,
and Ethan Lloyd second row and Cameron Murray in at 13.
I think
So
it's a solid game for us to like prove something and
definitely,
stand out.
definitely.
But
Who
for
else have
another
you got?
player, I've gone with Kalen Ponga again.
Yeah,
I think with the performance he came out with last week against Canberra, I think it's only fitting for him to continue that form and get on some consistent level.
I think. Yeah, I agree with that. And who's your third choice?
Third choice, I've gone with someone that needs to prove themselves as they've not been playing. Nathan Cleary. I
That's
feel
what
like
go on.
with the competition that's currently going on in the halves at Penrith, I feel like if he doesn't come out with a good game, it might see him not necessarily slide out the squad, but maybe forgotten about of how good he actually is.
Yeah.
He'll just be
The
another player in the halves.
I was watching a video yesterday, and it was Brad Fittler, and he was talk. It's a 3-part documentary
Oh,
on
is it a New South
how
Wales
it
thing?
how he picks his team, and
Yeah,
he said
yeah,
that Nathan Cleary he picked him off last year. He kicked a drop. He kicked the goal from the touchline after the hooter, and then he
yeah,
got the winning drop goal. And he said he just never gives up, and that's what a true Origin player should be. He's got everything for Origin, and I think
yeah,
he's one of them that rises to the challenge. I think he likes the pressure on him,
yeah, yeah.
because
And
I have
that's
to
what
agree.
this game's going to help him do. Like,
Yeah,
especially coming back from all that, all that
yeah,
nonsense that was happening in lockdown. You know, having been suspended for 2 games, he's got to come out and prove something.
yeah. Because I'll admit he's my number one player to watch on the
Yeah,
weekend, Nathan Cleary, for the reasons we've just said. My second one is Benteo. Again, coming back from Union after such a long stint there, he did very
yeah,
well over there. In a Broncos side that maybe, well, it isn't firing on all cylinders. I'm just interested to see what kind of job he can do, because Sam Burgess says it. He's just a bloke that will do anything for the team. He'll put his body on the line for it.
yeah.
So I've had to put him in for that reason, just because he's a top quality player coming into a team that maybe, it is struggling at the minute.
Yeah.
And then my third one is Reynolds at the Tigers, coming in filling Benji Marshall's boots. Like I said, I don't agree with him being dropped for Reynolds. And I think Reynolds really has to sort of go out there and prove himself. He really does have to go out there and prove himself and show why he should be picked more often. If he wants
Yeah,
more game time, then that he has to sort of prove it this game, and it should
it
be
can be.
interesting
Yeah,
to watch
it's going
him.
to be a come out game for him as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Like in the past, he's not had the best of luck,
no,
but it's a game where he can kind of prove himself.
I mean, I think we've kind of covered a bit of everything there, really, haven't we? Is there any sort of sports news you'd like to talk about
Yeah, so I've been
in
doing a bit of
outside?
yeah. I've got a bit of news on the F1.
Oh,
Um, it
jeez.
announced 8 races, with the first being in Austria, and it's going to start on July 3rd
That
over that
genuinely took
weekend.
me by surprise then.
Also, I said I'd give an update on the NBA.
Go on.
There's still no proper, thing about it, but many believe that LeBron is going to come out and it's his best chance to win a championship with the Lakers, and I kind of agree with that. Like
Yeah.
he's 35 now, um, and he's got AD who's going to be in his prime form, and they're all refreshed.
I was going to say
So
that this must work. I know this coronavirus, it's not ideal for players, but it must have been a blessing in disguise for players like LeBron, who, plays every game, every season,
yeah,
big minutes. It must do him some good having a proper break. He'll still be training and playing and stuff, in his backyard or whatever. But it must do him some good,
and it's
this
good to have
stint now
like
of resting up.
this break coming into like a basically what's going to be a final series.
Yeah.
It's easier for the players to come into that, especially
And
with very refreshed. Yeah,
there's one player that just takes it to another level in there in the finals, and that's LeBron James.
yeah. And some more news that just got announced today. I think you might be talking about it as well, but Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, they've just signed the financial agreement to fight on a 2-match deal.
2-match deal.
Yeah.
Who've you got?
It's hard to pick because like Tyson Fury, he's proven it time and time again. Joshua had that upset against Andy Ruiz,
Mm.
but I don't know. I
Thing
think
is,
it'll
though,
be a good fight.
Joshua come back stronger, didn't he? You know, when you watched him in that
Yeah,
second one, he looked more like a complete boxer.
I
With
think
that,
I think if anyone's to win it early, I think I'd say Anthony Joshua. If the fight was on, you've got to say Tyson Fury.
my heart says Joshua, but my head just says Fury.
Yeah,
You know, it's one, yeah. Like you said, he's proved it time and time again, that one.
yeah. Have you got any news
I've
on other
got,
sports?
I mean, I kind of struggled. I stuck to the football side of things because that starts in what, 7 days, is it? So I
Yeah,
thought I'd see what was coming on there. Now, a couple of transfer talks. So Crystal Palace have come out and said that Zaha can leave.
yeah,
He can leave, but it can only be on their terms. They've not said what them terms are, but I'm going to guess that it's you give us what we asked for
yeah,
plus extras, basically. And the other one is Leroy Sané. Now, Leroy Sané Bayern were interested in him,
yeah.
weren't they? You know, and then he got
Seeing
injured.
that, yeah.
But now they're still in talks with him. City have said that we want 62 million for him, but
That's cheap, that.
Bayern have only offered 36 mil. So
Jeez.
Bayern have offered 36 mil, and then City have said no, we want 62 mil for him.
It's
Do you
kind
think
of
any of it?
horrible for like a young player to go through that, like just to be dropped from
Yeah,
the team. And
yeah.
he's such a good player as well.
Do you think other teams now will come in though? Now that City have shown the hand
Yeah, and
and
they've
said, right,
shown
we
what
want this
price.
for
Yeah,
him. Yeah,
yeah,
but yeah, and then the other one was they said that friendlies can take place as long as it's no more than 90 minutes away from each other.
yeah.
So one friendly that was taking place was United and Stoke, and that's had to have been called off because O'Neill, the coach of Stoke, has tested positive for coronavirus.
Jesus.
Do you think with that being, because I guarantee it's not going to be the last time that happens,
No.
do you think they'll relook at it, or do you reckon they'll just let it go on?
I think they'll keep looking at it. It's biggest sport in the world. I think you've got to be a bit careful.
Yeah,
But
it's a difficult one because you don't know what's going on behind closed doors, do you? Either
exactly. And how many people are involved in football nowadays?
Yeah, exactly.
There was another
So
thing about football. I don't know whether you're going to say it or not.
go on.
Um, the government has announced that it's okay for the Merseyside derby to go ahead at Goodison Park.
Goodison Park, yeah, saw that.
Yeah,
Um, which is always good because I mean the Merseyside derby. I think the atmosphere in Goodison Park will just be unbelievable,
yeah.
and maybe there'll be an upset because of it.
I doubt it, but people can dream.
Hey, you never know.
Mm,
Who was it that beat Liverpool first this season? Was it Norwich?
who was it now? No, it
Was it
wasn't
not?
Norwich. It Wolves. No,
I'm
it
not
wasn't
sure.
Wolves. Yeah, I know it was, but it was the. Oh my god, I can't sound stupid now. Oh
It's
my
fine
god.
anyway, but it'll come to you later. I guarantee
Yeah, it
it.
will. It will. After
So
we finish recording, it'll come to me.
yeah. So what is there anything else you want to talk about? I mean, there isn't really much going on in the world of sport, is there? You know, there's been a few things that we've covered now, but all in all, there's not. Well, I couldn't find much that was sort of worth talking about, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Um, just to go back on that, it was Watford that beat us.
Watford. Yeah, there it is. So, moving on. Next
Yeah.
thing. What team or teams do you think needs to stand up this week?
Teams that need to stand up. I think
Yeah,
similar choices that we're going to have. I think Tigers need to step up. I
yeah,
think with Reynolds coming in now, I think they kind of have to prove that they can do something and not
Yeah.
just fall off altogether. I think it's going to be a tough test because they're against the Raiders, but it's the NRL. You're not going to get easy games every week.
No, you're not. See,
So, go on, sorry.
no, I was just going to say with them ones, I think it's Tigers will be embarrassed as well. And I think they won't want to make that happen again. So I think that'll kind of work in their favour a bit, definitely. Definitely. I've gone with slightly different choices. Now, I've gone with the Broncos just because it's an obvious choice. I think they need to. This is the big game now, this. I think they need to from somewhere, pull a result out of it. Definitely. Yeah. I've had to pick two because they were both on the same level. It's St. George. Now, St. George need a win at some point or else they're going to be a laughing stock, I think, of the NRL.
Yeah.
And
like with the players they had, like we said last week, they've got the players to win.
Yeah.
It's just the atmosphere and the morale in the club.
Something's not clicking, is it? And especially now, like with Paul McGregor giving a lifeline, he needs to get results from his players. And maybe, just maybe, NRL and Dragons will look at it. Maybe it's not McGregor. Maybe it's the actual players. Because sometimes they do look like they don't know each other.
Yeah.
On the pitch.
They need the players like Hunt to step up because, like, the way he's been playing, it just looks like he's not asked.
I think it's a big game for the coach, though. Given a lifeline, I think he'd be eager to impress. It's just whether his players are going to say, yeah, okay, we'll do that for you.
Yeah, like we got you back.
So that's, now, you ready to move on?
Yep.
So, predictions, Cam. Predictions. Who do you think? I think we may have gone for similar ones on this, but come next week when we do the podcast after the round 5, who do you think is going to be the team of the round?
Team of the round, I'm probably going to say the Knights again.
The Knights again.
I think the Storm, what you're saying with one of the halves missing, I think the Knights are just going to have a field there. I don't think it's going to be easy from the start. I think it's going to be one of them, what you have to find out, and then it's just going to be exploited.
Build a bit of momentum.
Yeah.
Build a bit of momentum throughout the game.
I think Ponga's going to have a massive game, though.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. Now, I've gone with Panthers for this one.
Yeah.
Because I think they will. I think Panthers will beat Eels. And I think if they do, I think they deserve to beat team at round.
I agree. Because
the way they're going to do it is if Cleary has a big game, Burton has a good game, Coruscant has a big game, and the forwards have a big game.
Yeah.
Because Eels forward pack are a very dominant side, and I think that's where they're going to beat them. But yeah, I've had to go with Panthers just because I think they could be on top of the ladder. Obviously, if points difference and things goes their way, I think they'll be top at ladder by the end of round 5.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting how Paralite deal with this because it's the back-to-back hard game.
Yeah, and they're not a pushover Panthers.
No.
They like a bit of a scrap in the middle, don't they?
Yeah.
So, you said the Knights, didn't you?
Yeah.
Is your player of the round by it going to be any chance Kalen Ponga?
Yeah. Like I said before, I feel like he's just going to have a standout performance again. I feel like if it is going to go the way I think it's going to go, I think Ponga's going to be the one who's involved in every single play.
Yeah. Well, I've got a bit of a shock one here, Cam, for you.
Go on.
I've gone with Latrell.
You know what? Yeah.
I think coming off his last 2 games, and he just seemed to have got better in each game. I think against Titans, now Titans are a good side coming off that win. They are going to be a dangerous side. Yeah. But I think if there's any game for Mitchell to sort of stand up and show what he can do, I think it's going to be against the Titans. And I can see Souths winning. I can. It'll be a close game.
It's going to be a physical game, though.
definitely. And I think Latrell Mitchell's going to be the game changer in it. Kind of like you with Ponga. I think Latrell Mitchell is going to have to step up and be the difference in that game.
It's
Take the
going to be good
confidence
for him
he's
though,
got.
because of Cody Walker coming back. Like, he can be the one, like the follow-up player. He doesn't have to be the one trying to break the line all the time.
Yeah. I think I think he's going to have the game of the season. I think he's going to have his best game at season. Because, like I said, he'll take the confidence from the first 2 games into it, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's the first shot. Do you think Tedesco is going to be playing?
I hope so.
I hope so, because I think he'll have a big game as well.
Yeah, but then I feel I'm obviously there is the thing you have to perform well in training, but I did enjoy seeing Ryan Hall out there.
I did.
I think it was 140 odd meters. I think he did in the game. He was solid under the high ball in defence. He made them meters. I think I'd like to see him in training, but they don't pick him for a reason. So there must be something going on in the training. He has been injured.
Yeah.
But I would just like to see him sort of
not just a replacement player.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Right. So Cam,
go on.
I said to you before we started recording this, I've got a little segment to sort of speak to you about.
Yeah.
And I've not told you what it is because I thought it'd be a more interesting conversation if I just sort of sprung it on you.
Go on.
In Australia, they have state of origin, and that's like the pinnacle of their game over there. Yeah. That's pretty much where they pick the Aussie side from.
I think I know where you're going to go.
War of the Roses, state of origin over here. Lancashire versus Yorkshire. London teams can pick who they want to play for, if they want to play for any. But once they've picked that team, they have to stick with that team, no matter if they win or lose.
I think it would be a good idea. I think it would make it more interesting, and it would widen, our side of rugby. Yeah. It'd kind of make it more, interesting for the Australian fans that are looking into it.
Because people will say, I've had a few ideas, I had a bit of a brainstorm. People will say, but that's too many games with the Challenge Cup, Super 8s.
The professional athletes.
I know, but what you could do is you could turn the Challenge Cup into like a Charity Shield game. So in the middle of summer, it's, say, whoever wins the grand final and finishes first or finishes second if first place wins the grand final. They're playing the Challenge Cup as a bit of a community shield thing. They'll still get the royalties. That gets rid of that whole competition. The only problem is then you've got, obviously, the teams in like the championship kind of do look forward
the smaller
to that.
Teams. Yeah, I don't know about that.
Yeah. Super 8s, just scrap it because it's 8 more games that don't need to be played. Just take the top 4, play a semi-final. First place is plays 4, second place 3rd.
Yeah.
Semi-final. Because the top 8 teams are still going to have players in the England squad. So that gives them then a bigger rest before it.
Yeah.
And then Origin, if you did it 3 games, or even just 1, but if you did it 3 games, you could do it over like Origin does every couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And then if a player decides, so let's say Tommy Makinson says, right, I'll play, he gets picked for Lancashire, and he says, right, I'll play for Lancashire, but I'll also play for Saints after it. That's his decision. If a player says, I can play Lancashire, but I'm not going to be able to follow it up and play for club.
Yeah.
Right? The thing is then what you've got is you have the chance then to bring a kid through.
That is a good point.
Like the Aussies do. The Aussies, if a player can't back it up, they'll say, right, we'll bring an academy player into the team to play. Yeah. Give them a chance in first grade football first grade footy to play a game then at top level, give them a bit of experience. And then you never know, they might come through and you think, right, we've got someone here. Let's keep him on. He can play in the next one if they don't want to follow it up. Or we can, pay a bit more attention to him, But I just thought I'd throw that one out there.
It's going to be good if they do that because, like you said, it'll give the younger players an opportunity to actually have a feel of what first grade football feels like.
Yeah. And it's even if you did it just one game, just one game, Lancashire v Yorkshire. Brian McDermott's already come out and said that it had revitalised the game, that old sort of rivalry. He said him being from Lancashire playing in a Yorkshire team, he said that rivalry was immense. They thrive off it. You think when like Saints and Leeds or Wigan and Leeds, get to a grand final.
Yeah.
It is a bit more of a sort of, we need win. It's a bit more pride in it then, isn't there?
Yeah, I get. Yeah, but it would be interesting because like retired players do that game, don't they?
Yeah. Rugby AM did it last year for like
and it's an interesting game like, to see.
I just thought I'd throw it out there because it is a topic that people want. People want to bring the Exiles game back, England v Exiles. Sean Wayne sort of said that he wants to do an England v Exiles game, which is always good. It's like a little test for England playing against some Aussies, Kiwis.
But I think you're right. It'd be better for like the England coach to kind of pick the team like the Aussie does.
Yeah, because then you're having the best against the best, then, aren't you?
Yeah, and it's a chance for like people who might not watch rugby. If they're watching that, they'll see like all the best players play.
Yeah,
and it might get more fans involved.
And it brings in a crowd then for an extra game, extra 3 games.
Yeah,
more money then for the RFL, and then hopefully you can build on that then. And I just thought it'd be an interesting topic to talk about purely because the game does need, I think, something a bit different. Yeah, you've got the World Club Challenge, which you look forward to. Challenge
especially the English game.
Yeah, I just think it gives you something. Then you like the Exiles game, you'd have that saved. England against the Exiles over here would be epic. And then you'd have another date on your calendar, War of the Roses.
Yeah.
Something you could look forward to. Our own little state of origin, our own little bit of pride watching Lancashire against Yorkshire, I just thought it'd be, because it's in conversation, I just thought it'd be an interesting topic to talk about. Like,
100%.
But yeah, I think that should be something that they do, whether it's one game or 2.
Hopefully they do it. Even if they just bring, like you said, the Exiles back.
Yeah. So, anything else, Cam? I mean, we've
I think that just about covers everything.
Definitely. Yeah. So
I'm just looking up here, and a birds decided to have a poo in my window. That's not a nice way to end the podcast, is it?
Touchline podcast giving you quality entertainment, quality content.
A picture of that will be on screen now.
Yeah. Well, all the best, guys. Stay safe. Everything's getting back to normal as such.
Yeah.
One thing we do want to say is that we're kind of getting back into work now, aren't we? So
yeah, we are.
It may not be 2 podcasts a week. It might be 1 where we do sort of a review of the round and predictions.
Yeah, so it might be a bit longer. Yeah.
Yeah, but we are going to be filming little videos. We sent one out this morning. All-time Super League team. But we are going to be doing little videos like that. That's just so we are active. We give you a bit of content, something else to watch. We know that people don't have a lot of time to watch podcasts, but yeah, we appreciate the support and everything. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, comment, hit the notification bell, do all of that. Give us some video ideas. But yeah. Anything else, Cam?
That just about sums it up. Thanks for watching. Do what Callum said. Like, comment, subscribe.
And take care, guys. All the best.
See ya.